There's one. Hey kid, it's Dad. Today's question is, why are there so many 7-Elevens here? There's 2 in Thailand. Oh, there's 3. And how did it get to be that way? Let's find out. So there's lots of videos about 7-Elevens out there, especially here in Thailand. There's another one. Something that I haven't seen and that I wondered about for the longest time was why? Why would there be a 7-Eleven, 3 of them, on my tiny little street? And of course you see the same thing in Bangkok. Famously, there's 7-Elevens right across the street from each other. So what's going on? Well, 7-Eleven, there are a lot of them here. There are about 12,000 as of 2021. That is not the most. The most in the world is in Japan. Japan has about 21,000 7-Elevens, which kind of, stands to reason. 7-Eleven started out as an American company that had majority shareholders as of 1990 from a Japanese company. Around 2005, it was completely taken over. But that's not what you're here for. You're here to find out what is the deal with 7s here in Thailand. So 7-Elevens here are cool. They got some interesting things. There's interesting local flavor there. Odd flavors of chips and weird snacks. Any good store is going to cater to their local population. They're especially cool because of what you can do there. Not only will they cook your food for you, which is really novel if you're from the States, but you can also pay your electric bill there. You can top up your phone there. You can make other kinds of bill payments there. They have agreements with a bunch of banks, but none of that tells you why you would need one right across the street. None of that makes sense. Well, it has to do with the parent company in Thailand, and that's CPL. So the company CPL has exclusive rights to 7-Eleven here in Thailand. CPL is pretty huge, but they do not run all their own stores. About half of the 7-Eleven stores that you see are run by CPL, and about half of them are franchised. They have all kinds of different franchises that you can do with them. And it's not just franchises with individuals, it's franchises with companies. And this is where you start to see why you can wind up with so many next to each other. The one in my building, for example. So the property owners, they own a bunch of different buildings, and they have an agreement with 7-Eleven. So if they have a property with X amount of units or more, there's going to be a 7-Eleven. What happens is you have another property conglomerate on the same road, and they also have an agreement. Or if the area is really popular, the same real estate company might own 2 buildings. They have that agreement, so buildings are going to be half a block away from each other. Well, you know what? They're both going to have a 7-Eleven. Now, something else that can happen, if the 7-Eleven is doing exceptionally well, there's no exclusivity involved with your franchise. That means that 7-Eleven can see, if 7-Eleven sees high profit margins, they might come in and open their own CPL-run 7-Eleven. Now, this might sound a little heavy-handed by the parent company, and to an extent it is. Profit sharing for 7-Eleven, I think it's 45% goes to CPL. But there are lots of things that you get in return. And a lot of that stuff is what makes 7-Eleven what it is and what makes it so popular, and that's consistency. So when you open a 7-Eleven franchise, it's not absurdly expensive. It's around 2 million baht. And what you get in return is kind of a turnkey operation. I mean, you got to get your employees, and you handle all of your employees and ordering and stuff like that, but they set you up with a store. They even set you up with training on how to do the 7-Eleven best practices stuff. And that's what gives you that type of consistency that you see across 7s here in Thailand. So there's definite advantages there. And again, that's in their own interest because it keeps their consistency going. So that's not the only way that you wind up with a 7-Eleven on every corner. It's not just that. There's agreements with different real estate companies or builders or a CPL coming in and setting up shop next to a franchise store. A third reason just has to do with sales numbers. So how much money does a 7-Eleven make? Now, as far as markups go, one of the cool things that you've probably noticed about 7-Eleven is that they really don't do the kind of drastic markup that you see in the States. The price that you pay at the 7-Eleven is usually going to be about the same price that you're going to pay at the mom and pop shop. So the amount amount of money that the 7-Eleven makes is really going to have a lot to do with the location, more than competition from another 7-Eleven. Now, because CPL is so big, and I mean big, big, all of the infrastructure that keeps 7 consistent, their bakery food, their logistics, their bill pay system, their app system, they own all of that. They've got little subsidiaries that handle all that. So they're also branching out. They just opened their first store in Phnom Penh. They have an exclusive 7-Eleven agreement with Cambodia. They have plans to open up their first 7-Eleven in Laos. They have an exclusive franchise agreement with Laos. So being that size, they know exactly how much business a 7-Eleven can do, how much they can handle. A 7-Eleven in a super profitable area can do between 4 and 5 million baht a month. That's a couple 100,000 baht a day. That's not going to be the same for every 7, obviously. Your small 7-Elevens are going to make somewhere between 10 and 20,000 baht a day. I'd say that the average 7-Eleven is somewhere between 50,000 and 100,000 baht of business a day. When you're talking about those high-performing stores, even if they are fully staffed and they have people at all the registers and they have steady customers throughout the day, it is not physically possible for them to make much more than 4 to 5 million baht. So when a 7-Eleven starts to hit those numbers, CPL will come in and they will open another store. That is one of the things that may have happened if you see 2 7-Elevens literally right next to each other, if they're both really busy. That's the case I've read with the 2 on Asok that are right across the street from each other. They both make close to 4 million baht a month. So they are at capacity. There may even be a third one with those kind of numbers. So kid, that is why you see a 7-Eleven on every corner, or why they're all over the place here in Thailand. And again, this is probably one of those things for you, kid, that you never even think twice about because it's just all around you your whole life. But it's one of those things that as an expat, I really am left scratching my head, like, what is the deal with all these 7s? Oh, another thing is 7-Eleven has an agreement with Pa Ta Ta, that big chain of gas stations. So all those gas stations get a 7-Eleven. So in addition to all the ones that I have on my street, there's one at the gas station too. So you have all these interconnected agreements and contracts. So I hope you learned something today. As always, if you enjoy what we're doing here, like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. If there's something else that's weird about Thailand that you'd never figured out, well, those are the types of things that I like to figure out and I like to talk about, and especially if it's something that you think the kids should know about. That's gonna do it for this one, kid. Until the next video, I'll see you later. What are you doing? Oi.